you go from 5 to 3?
And that's where the video starts, my friend.
How the fuck do you go from 5 to 3? Whatever, this is video number 3. And the cameraman at the moment is a fucking dumbass.
I am.
That's
Wait.
not my problem. That's entirely his doing because he's a dumbass. That light is fucking annoying, but I'm gonna worry about it for later.
Hey, imagine having that thing right in front of you.
Yeah, I'm sure. Anyway, speaking of 3, this is game number 3 for video number
3.
11.
Actually, yeah, 11. Sorry. I was thinking 3.
Technically video number 3, but this is the 11th video. We're just counting backwards from 13. So, this is Silent Hill 4 The Room. One of my favorite games of all time, which I've played it to the extent to where I very much enjoy it. It's got parts where it's aggravating and a pain in the ass, specifically with the water level. The water level is quite literally the hardest.
Insert obligatory water level here.
In all honesty, I probably will at least put up a picture of the water level. It's bad.
I mean, every water level is bad in a video game. Like, it's not so much it's a bad level, it's more of it's there to annoy the player. Just like spiders.
This game actually doesn't have those. It does have these annoying ass bat creatures though, and these annoying ass fucking dogs. And I hate them so much. They piss me off and they're annoying. They're not called bats, they're called hummers. And it's mainly because they're kind of like bats bred with mosquitoes, bred with like wasps. And anyway, they're really annoying. They make a very loud humming sound. And the dogs are just as bad. And look, this comes with a game manual. Ooh, and on the back is Neo Contra.
But first, we must read the back of the box.
Fuck Contra. Anyway, I probably know more about this game from the back of the box than us.
Probably.
But the back of it says, Henry Townsend finds himself trapped in an apartment. And the only escape is through a mysterious portal inside of his bathroom, of all things, is where it first appears, to a horrifying alternate reality with gruesome sights around every corner and his sanity beginning to be tested. He must find his way out of this nightmare. Enter The Room, the latest story in the most terrifying game series of all time. It was the latest story as of... When did this game come out? As of... What's the date on this? 2004. That's what it looks like. Yeah, it looks like 2004. This game is rated M for mature simply because of how gory it is, the sexual themes, and it's very violent. So if you like games that are gory, violent, and has basically a hooker that gets killed, then it's a game for you. It's pretty fun. All things considered, it's pretty fun. The jump scares are legitimately scary. Not to mention, the room gets haunted, and there are several different types of hauntings, from static on the TV to static on the radio. Your room starts getting like blood on like the walls, the windows rattle. I believe there's something happening to your closet. One of your pictures looks weird. It's real weird.
Don't forget about the bleeding babies above your storage box.
That too. And
that happens
anyway,
because of picking up a shitty item.
Yeah. And it makes it to where you can't open your storage box anymore. It's pretty bad. So you have to get rid of... If you want to get essentially the best ending in the game, you have to purify your room completely. By the end of the game, you cannot have any hauntings at all. Now, to have one of the worst endings in the game, you don't deal with them properly at all. You essentially let Ellen, which basically you let Ellen, who is your next door neighbor, I believe it's die. You let her die, and basically you allow Walter to bring apart the end of the world. Because that's essentially what he's trying to do.
So technically, in the worst ending, you have a best case scenario of, okay, I have technically a safe place, I am still alive.
See, aren't I a better cameraman than that asshole? Anyway, oops, spoilers, I'm Spooky Scary Cameraman. Hi, how are you?
Yes, we already mentioned.
So, of course, you have the getting started part of the guide.
Which
As
doesn't
far as
matter.
Getting started, it just talks about using the memory card and the controls and blah blah blah. Fun fact: in order to save, there's like a journal thing in your room, and that's how you save.
Which is nice and clever.
Your characters are Henry Townsend. Henry is a calm young man who never lets his feelings show. By the time the story begins, he has been locked in his room for 5 straight days. Suddenly, a large hole appears in the bathroom wall with no reason or warning, and he is dragged into the depths of terror. Which, first time you go through, you go to the subway area, which is where you meet Cynthia, I believe is her name. And then at the end of the level, she dies and becomes a ghost because Walter is trying to do the 21 sacraments. Or trying to complete the 21 sacraments. And he only has so much left. Because he's been busy since he died in prison. So. And you also have. My bad, it's Eileen, Ellen, however the hell you want to pronounce it. Eileen Galvin. Eileen is Henry's next door neighbor, the young resident of room 303. She has a kind personality, although she has the tendency to depend too heavily on others. Sorry, I'm slowly dying. The relationship between Eileen and Henry is nothing more than the simple recognition of one another. By the way, there is a peephole into her room. One of the hauntings is the bunny on her bed starts bleeding. It's fucking creepy as shit.
And it will also point out the fact that you are peeping.
And eventually it gets like right up against the peephole. And you look through the peephole, and this is what scared the piss out of me the first time I fucking figured it out. And it scares me every time I get to that point in the game because you don't exactly know when it's coming. You look through the peephole, and all of a sudden the eye of the stuffed bunny is just looking back at you. It's fucking creepy. Anyway, the relationship between Eileen and Henry is nothing more than simple recognition of one another, but they are both dragged into a strange set of events that will change everything. Now, part of the mother ending is, instead of rescuing Eileen, the mother ending is she becomes basically what Walter's trying to do. He's trying to reincarnate himself, essentially, I believe. And in the mother ending, she doesn't leave with you. In the good ending, she leaves with you. But in one of the... There's multiple endings to this game. It's fucking great.
There's like
so you can
4.
play however you want. Of course, the game ends when you get a game over, but you can continue from wherever the hell you last saved. Examine. Ugh. Of course, you can reset your game. Your first weapon is a steel pipe. Whenever the hole first appears, there's a steel pipe, in your wall, as walls have. So Henry breaks it off, and then boom, you have your first weapon. Next, you'll find a revolver, and then in random areas, you'll find ammo. You have holy candles, which help get rid of the hauntings. You have saint medallions, which essentially repels ghosts. It does eventually break. It does help with the hauntings, but the more powerful the hauntings are, the less effective the medallion is. And then of course you have first aid kits, which heal you. It's oof, this game.
Have a dangerous disease? Get a first aid kit.
Anyway, so as far as that goes, it's pretty standard as far as a Silent Hill game is concerned. And this is Silent Hill 4: The Room. Now, like I said, as far as that goes, it's yeah. It does have a hospital level, like most other Silent Hill games. Let's see here. You start off, of course, in Henry's room. He's been locked in there for 5 days. All of a sudden, there's a random hole in the bathroom. Great. So, of course, you go down the hole, go to the subway area. This is where you meet Cynthia. And, of course, after you finish the subway area, Cynthia dies. Next, you go back. You go back through the hole, and you go to the... It's essentially a forest area. But it's... And you meet... I forget what his name is, but he looks like your typical douche. Or, like, your typical, like, hipster stoner kind of douche. And, of course, he's one of the targets. He gets burned alive. And, of course, there's nothing you can do to stop any of them from dying. You go to the water level. I believe the guy there winds up drowning.
Unless you shoot in the water, and then you die. Wait, no, that's a different game.
And then, of course, you have the, and then, of course, you have the last stage, as far as the beginning half of the game, is, I believe, the apartments, which is where you first meet Walter. And, of course, you don't know who he is. He's just there. I believe he tells you his name. I don't remember. But he's sitting on stairs and you can talk to him. Now, while you're there, you will also find a ghost. And there's ghosts littered throughout the game. They suck. They really do suck. Stay away from them as much as possible. But you will find one with a sword stabbed through it. You have two options. You can either take the sword or leave it so that ghost isn't an issue. You can do either one. It's entirely your choice. I, for one, take the sword because it's helpful later, because after you get finished with that and you go back through the hole and you wake up again and you go back to your bathroom, guess what? It's sealed. Go to the laundry room. There's a hole that's opened up in the laundry room. Guess where you start out? Guess it's the subway. Yay! You're back there, and Cynthia's trying to kill you because she's now a hair ghost. She attacks you with her hair. This is where the sword comes in handy, because with the sword you can stab her and it stops her from moving, period. I believe there's also another sword hidden somewhere in this level. There's multiple swords hidden. They are really useful for getting rid of the main boss battle ghosts, if we're gonna put it that way. Really good for getting rid of them. So, then you go to the next area, and guess who's there? Douchebag Misty and his flaming glory. Stay away from him. Just like you need to stay away from Cynthia.
And the weed.
Go about your business. Go to the water level. And then after that, I believe, is a hospital level, because I believe Eileen gets taken to the hospital, and then you meet her there, and then of course you're back at the apartments, which is where kinda everything is gone to shit. And if you haven't done anything properly, you could get one of the bad endings, or the worst ending is you don't escape, Walter wins. the mother ending is where you can leave, Eileen has to stay. Because she's like possessed. I believe she's possessed by Walter. I believe is how that works. She's quote unquote mother now. There's also something having to do with his you have to find his umbilical cord. That plays a part in it. It's a really fucked up game. It really is. It's fucked up. It's terrifying. If you like horror games, you should definitely play it. It's worth the play. It's a bit different than other Silent Hill games. Just a little bit. I still prefer the first one in all its glory to Silent Hill 4, but Silent Hill 4 is a very close second for me. Because, again, the Silent Hill games are kind of like all their own thing. So, this game is great. I love it. If you like horror games, you'll really enjoy it. Deuces.
Next one is now the Xbox one.